Hello, and thanks for joining us on this HOA Leader video chat with two of our experts. My name is Gabriella Flisco. Today, I'm joined by Joan Lewis Hurd of California and Patricia Ayers of Connecticut. And today our topic comes from an HOA Leader reader from a townhome community of units worth $400,000 each. The reader says they have a resident who's running an auto sales business out of his townhome, and he's using guest parking as his showroom. And of course, that's in violation of the covenants and parking rules. And the reader has sought to tow the cars, called for a police escort, but the resident, who happens to have a criminal record for violence, battery, and using the wrong plate on his car, is belligerent, and he's threatened the board. And the police sent the tow truck driver away, told the board, this is a civil matter, we can't get involved. So in this video, we're going to discuss why it's important for this new board to start off on the right foot in terms of following its documents and showing owners that the board will take its enforcement responsibilities seriously. And then in our second video, Joan and Pat will offer their thoughts on the specific steps this board can take to fix this problem. Just a note, as always, our experts are providing insights based on the laws in their state. We're providing you with general guidance you can use to help you when you approach experts in your own state. So with that in mind, let's jump in. Joan, do you agree that it's important for this board to get this first act right?
Most definitely. You only get one chance to make a first impression. And it's very important that the board follow the governing documents and make sure that they do what they were hired to do and fulfill their duty that they have to the entire community to enforce the governing documents. So they need to review those governing documents and do everything that's necessary, assess whether there's parking and towing rules. And if not, make sure that there are some, and not be bullied by this bully, and just to make sure that all are aware that that there's a no violence allowed in the association.
Pat, what do you think on this front? Is it important to get it right?
I agree completely with Joan. New board members first are easily intimidated, I've found. And also they are not familiar with the powers that they have in their governing documents. Most of the powers are very broad because condominiums, in a sense, are mini governments. So there's a lot of enforcement powers that people don't realize that they have. And the other thing is, Joan mentioned that there was a duty, and there is a duty of the board members to protect everybody in the association, and a duty also to they're acting as trustees in a sense over the property. They're managing it for the benefit of the unit owners. So they have an obligation to these other people in the association to do what they need to do to protect them and protect their interest. One of the things I noticed was a $400,000 home. I mean, having this kind of parking thing going on in your complex is not going to help your resale values at all.
Yeah.
So it's really important. And of course, $400,000 in California isn't that much, but in Connecticut, a little bit.
Right.
But I think that new board members don't know what they're doing. They don't know their footing. And as Joan says, they have to go in and look at their documents and understand what powers they do have and not be afraid to exercise them.
Right. And then one other thing I was thinking of in terms of new board members, this will make their jobs easier in the long run, because if they let themselves get pushed around on the first few times they're supposed to act, everyone's going to think they can push them around. Am I right on that, or is that just the wrong way to approach this? Joan?
No, you're definitely correct on that. And one thing that our firm does for a number of associations is when there's like a new board, we have board member training that we will, do if boards want the training. And that's important so that they do understand, as Patricia was saying, that the scope of their enforcement powers and the scope of their documents and what their rules really do say, particularly with this issue as to whether or not there's parking and towing rules, and so that they can actually proceed.
Pat,
and
you want to add?
That way they can actually get it right.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't. The other thing I want to emphasize, Joan is talking about the enforcement powers, are the economic enforcement powers. In Connecticut, if they find someone or assess cost against them, it becomes an automatic lien on their unit. And I believe in California, with notice, you can also do a lien on the unit for certain fines and assessments. Is that correct?
Not really. In California, you really can't, you
Oh.
can't really lien for fines.
Oh, okay, because we can, and we can foreclose.
Well, you can't, or you definitely cannot foreclose for fines.
Okay, so you gotta look, again, you gotta go to your attorney and see what powers you have in the state that you're in.
Okay.
Because in Connecticut, we have some uniform statutes that have really some very, very strong enforcement provisions.
All right. So thanks for joining us. Thanks, Joan, and thanks, Pat. Listeners, we hope you'll join us again next month. And we also hope you'll join us for the next video where we're going to talk a little more in depth and we're going to give more insights on what this board can do.